Welcome in. Today's show is guaranteed to be less disappointing than when WWE announces Seth Rollins' new faction name is called They See Me Rollins, They Heyman, He, She's, Theys, and all those who slay. It's time to talk about the week in wrestling. No glitches,
I'm
no
leaving now.
botches.
I'm leaving. No, I hate that I'm laughing this hard at that. Oh my God. I can't.
You are welcome. Uh,
Before we get started, I do want to shout out to our boys, friend of the show, Herb and Raj.
mhm.
Did you see that they got picked up by,
Yes, by Bama Network.
yeah, shout out to them. Congrats. Well done.
Very well done. Um, Real quick, if I could get through the intro, please.
Sorry.
That's all right. It's time to talk about the week in wrestling. No glitches, no botches. Well, maybe just a few. Welcome to Kicking Out at 2. I'm Michael. With me is my suplex to my stunner, the chaos to my commentary, Tori. Tori, how are you?
There's botches. Is Brie Bella on the show?
Remote.
I hope I never have to actually interview her because that's going to go poorly.
You're just going to keep your mouth shut. Um, Not that we'd ever get that opportunity. That's way that's above our pay grade. Let's go ahead and get into the 1, 2, 3 count. Do you want to start? Or do you want me to start?
Let's do yours because I'm not sure when Mary's mom's going to be here to get her dogs, and I don't
Okay.
want to be in the middle of ours and mine. And
Fair enough. All right. My number one for this week is Queen Aminata versus Toni Storm. This was a very good showcase for Queen Aminata. A couple of moves that we've seen before too. I was kind of intrigued now that Miss Trin is not a face anymore. I guess we've decided we're going to take the leg butt slam, whatever it is.
the
Where she
rear view.
no, where she would trap someone's head with her knees and ram them into her ass and then shake it.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
Aminata did that to Tony on the outside. I don't know if she's done it before. I've never seen her do it before, but I can only assume it's because that move is kind of up for grabs because Trent's not going to be doing that as a heel probably. Um, but fresh off her injury, being trusted to face Toni Storm in a women's title eliminator is a major show of faith from the company that they're going to put her into a better position. It's really awesome for that. Um, the match itself was kind of a tale of two sides. The start of it was very awkward. There was a botched hip toss. It seemed like they didn't have a lot of chemistry. But once they got back from commercial break, I don't know if they had a little talk during the picture in picture or what, but they kind of got on the same page at that point and started really kicking ass. It was a nice showing for all of them. It wasn't perfect, but it was a strong step forward for Aminata, and it was good to have another good match from Toni Storm. I'm still intrigued to see kind of where we're going to go with her story. Now that we see that Megan Bain is now attacking Mariah May, maybe that will bring in Toni for that. Save her old protege. I don't know. Did you get a chance to see that match? I know you hadn't caught Collision yet.
I have not caught Collision yet. I didn't get a chance to catch up with it today, and Saturday was a really busy day. And Sunday we slept a good portion. We're too old to be staying up till 3 in the morning like that.
Well, all right. So over the weekend you blacked out a little bit. That's understandable. Speaking of blacking out, Aleister Black returns.
You're on fire tonight, aren't you?
I am. I'm just on it today. This is how you introduce a character, and before anybody says it, I've already been called out by 2 people on Twitter when I posted about this. Um, yes, I am aware that his entrance into back into WWE looks very similar to his entrance into AEW. You go there and face a very high mid card talent in a stark
Oh
white
shit.
suit. And as soon as they start coming after you, you just soul kick them and then you're done. So
It
yes,
was Jarrett in AEW, wasn't it?
it was Cody.
It's Cody.
Yeah, he walked in there. I want to say he didn't kick Cody though. I want to say he kicked Arn, if I remember right. But like, yeah, I mean, he just stark white suit and everything, looked exactly the same as what Miz was wearing. Um, but here's the thing, like borrowing from each other, I've never had a problem with that. So by all means, that makes perfect sense. You've got this dark and gothic entrance. Um, dude wearing black pleather and tattoos. Having Miz in a white suit helps that combination work.
It
So
was Arn.
it was Arn, yeah,
He just took Arn smooth out.
yeah. But that visual contrast really kind of brings that out. Um, I've also seen people complain that it's against the Miz, but why not the Miz? The Miz is a perfect person to throw in there. He is a two-time Grand Slam champion. He may not seem like it with the stuff he's been doing with Mello and kind of not being in the main scene, but he is who he is. He is one of the
Right.
best, and he doesn't get his flowers enough. So him
No.
coming in and having his first program with the Miz, I think is perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Whether this leads to a match at Backlash or them having an actual match, I'd even be fine if that match ended up being a squash because just we haven't seen Aleister in so long that
Right.
having him just come in there and waylay Miz with a surprise kick wouldn't be out of the realm of possibilities to me.
Yeah, I don't think it'd be a bad thing. I think it needs to be a decent match.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it should be a squash. I think it should be a decent match. Um, I think Miz is a great first opponent. We've talked about how much Miz can do anything with anyone. So I don't hate it. I don't hate it.
No, it's a great start for him. Like Miz is that perfect person to throw him in, get his feet back wet in the product. Um, it's kind of like on the flip side. We didn't put it on any of our 3 counts, but Rusev coming back, Rusev stepping back in and being against Otis and Tozawa to kind of start. It's an easy story to tell. He goes
Right.
in there, he picks on Otis and picks on Tozawa. He'll probably face Tozawa first, and then turn around and face Otis right after that because he beats the hell out of Tozawa. Makes
Right.
perfect sense. Um, we got to get them back in there somehow. That seems to be the best way to do it. My number 3 is I'm not sure exactly what to call it other than you got your shit and my shit because everybody's involved in everybody's thing. We got Penta get involved in Judgment Day's thing and with the American males or American Alpha or whatever we're calling them. So kind of in the middle of everything.
Did you just call them the American males?
Did.
And Ivy Niles, the one that had the match? Are you kidding me?
Yeah. Well, he wasn't in her match though. Um,
Oh,
However, that was a little funny bit too. Is you have Chad Gable mad that all these certain people are coming over here and taking our jobs. And so we get Stephanie McCurr versus Ivy Nile, which I gotta say, best Ivy Nile match I've ever seen. She did so well in that match. Not that she ever does poorly, in my
you
opinion.
complained about her selling that move that Booker loves. The second time, the way her arms just kind of went limp was perfect.
Yeah. I
Because
did.
that was the second time.
Yeah, I did think that was kind of funny that we did it going into commercial break and then came back from commercial break and went right back into it. They talked about that specifically on the Raw Rundown. Friends of the show, John and Jess, and he talked about it being like the 15 minutes of fun that they give Booker T, and I was like, well, it's 30 seconds because we got to double dip this time. But anyway, so we end up in a situation where we have War Raiders versus Judgment Day. I'm not going to go through the whole setup of that, but basically, no one tells Finn shit. And we set up a tag team match with him and JD to have this, for lack of a better term, an eliminator match or for a number one contenders match to see who's going to face the New Day next. So New Day comes out there. They're going to watch the match. They're hilarious on commentary. Eric and Ivar looked strong as they always do. McDonough and Balor ends up taking the loss in one of the most convoluted things I think I've ever seen. Because you've got Carlito out there. He's got the apple. He throws the apple in the middle of the ring. It almost seems like the ref is confused by the apple in the ring more than she is like distracted by anything. Like, why the hell did you do that? What did you throw that in there for? Well, while she's distracted though, Penta comes out and involves himself, knocks McDonough off, and so that ends up with a surprise win from the War Raiders. During the commentary though, yeah, Woods and Kofi just doing some gold. What are they going to do? They're
commentary was so perfect.
They're going to come back and they're going to win the title, so they can go another 70 days without defending the title. Ivar does that like crossbody into the side panel, and Cole goes, "That's really impressive." And Kofi's like, "Well, when I do that, you don't say I'm impressive." And Woods pops back with, "Well, you're not 500 pounds." It's like, oh shit.
Them as heels is amazing.
Yeah. They did have some subtle shots at Big E too. They're kind of keeping that active. Still hoping that means something. I'm hoping that since we're keeping it alive, that something's going to happen out of that. But anyway, so we end up finishing that match. You see Penta backstage with the fill-in for the night for Adam Pearce. We've got Magnus himself, GM over there from SmackDown, filling in because Adam Pearce took the day off. That's all we were told. We don't know exactly what's going on. He just took a day. And so we have Aldis pitching in for him. But we got Penta talking to Aldis, trying to figure out what's going on. Aldis says, look, I know you're pissed off. I know you're mad, but you can't like be doing this kind of stuff. Normally I'd fine you, but I'm going to go ahead and let it slide this one time. Says, thank you. Turns around right into Chad Gable. Chad Gable is hassling him about at WrestleMania. You know, he had a bad showing there. It's too bad for you. Talk some more smack. He starts to walk away. He being Penta, pronouns pal. So Penta's starting to walk away, and he goes, but that's not my favorite part of WrestleMania. My favorite part of WrestleMania was your brother losing his first match at WrestleMania right off the bat to Americano, Grande Americano. At that point, you said his brother's name. You've talked about his brother. So he kicks him, like, not like a super kick or anything. He just did like a side kick. He just bump kicked him. And said basically a bunch of curse words in Spanish that I only know because I knew the wrong people in Spain and that knew Spanish. So he said a bunch of things, but the most part of it was he was talking about his brother. So it's the first mention of the Lucha Bros on TV. So it's kind of cool that we're
this is happening.
Yeah.
This was just the start. This is happening.
Yeah. So we are going to start apparently with him having a match with Chad Gable next week. So we'll see that. That'll probably get the Creed brothers involved, which will get Lucha Bros together. They'll probably end up being inserted into the middle of this War Raiders New Day thing. So it'll be a lot of fun to see all that. So we'll kind of see what happens with all that. I love the fact that everything's connecting. Because I'm sorry, no, next week he's going to face Big Head from Judgment Day. JD, yeah, that's right. And then probably long term is he's going to end up facing Gable, but so we'll see. It'll be kind of fun. So that leads us to your 3 count. The first one is we got Street Profits versus DIY versus Motor City Machine Guns in a TLC match that should have been on WrestleMania.
Did you watch that match?
I did watch that match.
That was start to finish one of the best ladder matches we've ever had.
Yeah, I would say so.
The pushing Montez through the ladder to super kick him was diabolical.
That was great. The spear off the ladder onto the table from Dawkins, that was just beautiful in itself.
Just the whole thing, though. Those 6 guys went out there and killed it. Great in-ring chemistry. Obviously, there was no downside.
Yeah.
It was just a great match.
I am glad they got that Make-A-Wish kid to fill in for Ciampa. That was really nice of them.
I didn't know Triple H and Shawn had a match.
The joke there, folks, is that Ciampa apparently had a slip and fall at home, which is hilarious that's how that happened.
Oh, yeah. I thought it happened at Raw or SmackDown.
No, apparently this was like while he was off. He had a slip and fall, got a massive gash on his chin, and for them to fix that, they had to shave the beard. And so now he's just this baby face looking dude. Completely different than what we're used to seeing. I think I've seen him before talking as a lawyer to Taker or something.
It's been a long time since he's been shaved, and there's a good reason.
Yeah. That
is not an attractive man.
No. But yeah, it was a great match. You even got to have fun stuff in there. Like Montez used that prosthetic leg. Whether that was a plant or not is kind of the question. No, I don't think
it was. Because the fan has posted the video, and he was yelling at Tez, and Tez had a ladder in his hand, put the ladder down, ran over, took the dude's leg, hit them, and threw it back to the guy.
Yeah.
And so I don't think it was a plant. I think it was just somebody that happened to be there.
Yeah, it was just a great moment. The finish saw Ford snagging the belts after a hard-fought war for everybody there. Each team had a nice little interview after the match too, and all of them were it was a very good interviews of like, we went out there and killed it, and they more hyping each other up than it was anything else. And so it was good to see that of each of them saying like, we may have our differences, but like we went out there and killed it, and we showed what we should be doing. And even commentary itself saying specifically like, these men are here to show you why they shouldn't have been left off of Mania. And so bringing that up was a nice little dig, whether that was a planned dig or not.
There was no reason you could not have put that match on the card.
No reason.
You could have put AJ and Logan Paul, never happening.
But that could, like, to your point though, that could have been a Raw after Mania thing. Like that didn't have to happen at Mania. And I mean that match was kind of a dud anyway.
Yes. You could have absolutely done some kind of injury or something where one of them couldn't go. And so we're going to do this match on Monday to fill that slot. Here's this TLC match that would have killed.
Yep, absolutely. Your number 2, Sami Zayn rejects Seth Rollins' offer. This was the through for the night. And you know how much I love when they have those stories that kind of go through the entire night. We open up the night with Seth Rollins and his Rolling crew, whatever we're going to end up calling them, the Visionaries. I've heard Seth Riders, which I enjoy that one. That one's fun.
The Seth Riders?
I enjoy that one. But they come out there and they kind of, talky, and then Sami Zayn comes out of nowhere, and kind of starts downing Seth.
When I first saw this, I thought, okay, so he's coming out to get hammered, which is exactly what I thought we were going to get.
Mm-hmm.
The whole interaction was strange to me because I know, like, people that are in the know, are aware that Tyler Black and Sami are friends.
Mm-hmm.
They go way back to ROH. Like they've been on the independents for a minute.
Their connection's documented.
Right. This is the first real interaction I can think of on TV.
Yeah. Between those two specifically.
Let me anything that mattered.
Yeah. The only thing I can think as far as in recent memory is there was that like trying to get Seth to join him for the bloodline thing. But even then it was more like a no, I'm not doing that. How could you do that? And then they kind of just stepped away like that.
Yeah.
They left it alone after that.
It was one of those things. It was interesting, and then we went to the back where Heyman is talking to Sami, talking about how we've been friends and we were in the bloodline and so on.
Mm-hmm.
And says, I've worked it out for you to go to SmackDown, and if you go, you get the winner of Cena Orton after Backlash. That's no small prize.
No, it's not.
Honestly, I think it would have been more interesting for him to have gone.
I would have took it.
It's a title shot.
Yeah. Not just a title shot, but a title shot with one of two really like big names.
Right.
But
so I just, and then of course he said no, got the beat down.
Well, hold on, but before we get there, he also got interrupted backstage by Karrion Kross, which I don't know if you noticed. Again, the little tidbit, he had the hair up in the knot, mimicking how Sami Zayn normally wears his hair.
I saw that.
But telling him, hey, you better make the right decision, and walking away. He got cornered by Jay, and Jay saying, like, look, I know that you got a decision to make. You need to make the best decision for you. And just left it at that. Didn't tell him one way or the other. Just said you need to do the best decision for you. So he's gotten a couple of pushes from different directions of like, you need to do the right thing.
To the Jay thing, we had, I cannot believe his first fucking program is Logan Paul.
I kind of wonder if it's just to get it out of the way.
Logan's not winning.
No.
So why?
Well, I mean, someone's got to be the first to lose.
Fair. I just am not. I'm not a fan of this.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I'm not a fan of that match.
But then we followed through on that with him taking the punch from Logan Paul after the Sami interaction. The camera stayed on him too long. You knew it was coming.
Yeah. But yeah, no. See, he does say no. He tells him what I have the quote here for it. As a friend, I respect you. I love you, but this is me telling you to go to hell. And then apparently that means now you're gonna have a match. Like it wasn't just like we're gonna jump you. It's all right. Well, now you've got to face Braun. I'm not sure when that got discussed in the conversation.
Well, they said it earlier. He's like, I don't want to have to do this. I don't want to let him do what he wants to, what he does.
Well, yeah, but like they didn't present it as a match. It was like I don't want to let the dog off the leash, but if you don't say yes, then like you're in the way. It's just weird that it's like all of a sudden then he comes out in the singlet and I'm like, oh, I guess we're having a match. Like Sammy's in slacks. Like what are we doing? It's one hell of a beatdown though. Like he ends up beating him. Nice little touch in the middle of the match is so it was right before the finish. and Sammy's on the ground, and he's right there next to Seth, and Seth looks at him and goes, "It's not too late. Say yes right now, and we're done.
And yeah.
We can stop this." And he tells him again, "Go
Braun
to
hit
hell."
him with 2 spears in the ring, and then the
Then
spear
the
outside.
wraparound.
And then he ate a stomp.
Yeah. Which the stop was interesting because it almost looked like he was trying to tell Braun, like, we don't need to do this. And then he, like, flipped the conversation to he made his bed. And so then he leaned back, did the stomp.
Where do we go from here, and what's the point?
Yeah. I think, hey, Stampede, welcome. I mean, I get where we go from here is fleshing out this new group and this new character for Seth. Sammy's not a bad choice to do that against, especially with their history. I do like what we're doing with Seth because he's not being like the diabolical heel. He was trying to give Sami the way out. He's like, we're friends. Our kids play together. Do me a favor. Go over there. Go over to SmackDown. Let me deal with Raw. Almost sounding like he's kind of inviting him into the group. Like, you do the stuff over there and you run the show over there. I'll run the show over here and we'll be all right. So it's interesting to see that. What do you think of his character? What do you think of this new type of Seth?
I've questioned things with Seth a couple of times. In the end, it's always been fantastic. So you know what? I'm along for the ride. Like, I have questioned what Seth was going to do, what they were doing with him, why he's dressing the way he is, looking the way he is, whatever the case may be. I've questioned it.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much every time they've done a major character change. Let's see where this goes.
I could see that as a plan. Stampede, that's not off the mark as far as I could tell. Because I know a lot of people have gotten mad about the comparison to Evolution and that we should get educated on other stories that they've had. But I mean, it looks like an Evolution story. You've got this young, strong kid who is going to get more over because he's with Seth. It makes sense for him to turn on Seth at some point, or vice versa.
Is he going to get more over on because he's with Seth? Because Braun was pretty over to begin with.
He was, but and this is just my opinion, the guy was getting stale. The matches were still fire, and he was still doing great, and the intensity and all that. But the guy, the character itself, was getting kind of stale. And so him sitting under the tree of Paul Heyman to learn how to talk more on the mic without sounding just like Scotty, that's really what he's doing. He's just kind of taking Scotty's shtick. Like, I think he's done Steiner Math 4 or 5 times now. Okay. Be yourself on the mic, please. But him being under there to help with that, to help with the in-ring psychology a little bit from Seth, I think he'll end up being a bigger deal. So I could definitely see that being like the end road of eventually getting it onto Braun to then drop it to Sami. Sami does need the world title at some point. That is one thing in his, like, that promo he did was very earnest. And he is one of the best in the business at having that promo style that you just, you care wholeheartedly when he's talking.
The fact that Sami hasn't been a world champion is an absolute travesty in wrestling.
I can agree with that. The thing you look at with Sami, though, is like each time he's gotten there, something's happened. Someone in the story he's in gets hurt. he got hurt. You had the weird situation of going overseas um, to India the first time. So excuse me, not India, Saudi Arabia. There we go.
Yeah.
Going over there the first time, which kind of took him out of stories for a little bit because, as much as they said there's no repercussion for that, there seemed to be repercussion against some of those people that said, no, I'm not going over there. So, absolutely. Stampede. I 100% believe the words that came out of Sammy's mouth. He is going to be a world champion, and I think that's going to happen probably sooner than we anticipate. But yeah, I love just kind of go back to that. I love those through stories. I love the fact that we start with the story, we weave it through the rest of the night, and then at the end we get the capper to that story. I miss some of that storytelling. Your number 3 is probably the most talked about thing on Twitter right now, which is Leon Slater's Swanton 450 off the Ultimate X Truss, and kind of just going splat.
It was. So, to be fair, all I've seen is this on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't watch the match. I didn't watch the pay-per-view. All I saw was this and then the continuing arguments about it. There's been a lot of things said by a lot of different people, some that were in the match, some that just feel the need to have an opinion. The heat on AJ Francis is ridiculous and unfounded because he one-armed caught that man.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of fan cams from it.
There was
just
somebody else, and
today.
I don't know who it was, that tried to do a pretty good job of catching him too.
Yeah.
Um,
For the most part, though, it was almost like a parting at the sea. Like the spot he hit, he threaded that needle, and nobody was there. You did have AJ Francis. He did try his best. Like you see him last minute throw his arm up there, which could have hurt him more than it helped. So the fact that he's okay is also amazing because that could have tore his arm up.
yes. The other thing I noticed was on the front, on the if you're looking at it from behind the wrestlers, on the right side is Cardona and Moose, and they just moved. I'm sorry. I understand there is a possibility of getting hurt
Mm-hmm.
catching someone from that height. Yeah, absolutely, Stampede. And you know it's coming. You know what's happening in this match. You know what this match is. You know that every time they have it, it's what can we do next?
Mm-hmm.
To step out of the way and not try to help break his fall is embarrassing.
Yeah, like it, and here's the thing. Like I will say this, I'm not there. I'm not. I'm
100%.
I'm not the one the dude's jumping 30 feet onto. Um, so I can understand there's a fight or flight response at that point if you're not in the right spot. But yeah, to Stampede's point there, like it was a dangerous spot already, and it got made a lot more dangerous. Um, Luckily enough, everything that I've seen is that Slater's okay.
He
Nothing's
tweeted
broke.
he was okay.
Yeah. So, but Jesus, man, climbing 15 feet to flip onto a pile of wrestlers who barely caught him, like that's death defying.
I am very much to the point of I can appreciate a good crazy spot.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely appreciate it. Look at that TLC match. We had a couple of what I would consider crazy spots.
Yeah.
There comes a line that we need to find and stick to.
Yeah.
This isn't the 80s where you know somebody's going to catch you. This isn't a table that's going to have a pad under it when you come off the top of a cell. This isn't the stage that's going to be padded underneath it. This isn't a spot on the ring. This is concrete.
Yeah. very thin mat out there. Um, I can't imagine being in that position where you feel like you need to do that. I get it's a pay-per-view. I get that it's like a bigger deal. And he's he's a Hardy Boy kid. And so obviously like Swanton
Absolutely.
had something to do with that too, of like he was mimicking his idol. He's mimicking the guy who's helped him, doing that for Jeff. So do the spot if you're gonna do the spot, but good lord. If you're the guy that's set to catch him, or the group of guys in this case, like be there to do it. Um, I will say, just as a side, an aside myself, of one of the things I don't like in wrestling as much as people seem to. To me, this spot always looks bad, and for that itself, I wouldn't have personally had it in the match, because when you're looking at a spot like that, and you've got one guy up top, and you've got a group of guys at the bottom, the group of the guys that are getting jumped on, it always looks so damn awkward, because they're constantly looking to see where the guy is, and it's almost like you're miming a fight at that point and not actually
Yeah.
doing anything. So
I
if it's that awkward of a spot anyway, and the only hope is that the oh my god or holy shit of him jumping off the truss is what's gonna like change your mind. In this case, it did, but I think it changed their minds the other way around. Of like, a lot of people are upset over what ended up being a very dangerous spot and could have ended horribly.
yeah, I just I like I said, I love a good oh holy fuck spot.
Mm-hmm.
Love it. I feel like we're going too far. And I'm sure I sound like an old person or whatever,
Maybe the old people yelling at the clouds at this point,
and
but
we may be, but the last thing I want to do is be watching a show like that and have, and I hate to invoke this, but an Owen replay.
yeah,
Can you, because this was on live, like the camera is on them.
yeah,
What happens if everybody misses?
yep. Well, it's the you know, Mick Foley is always a guy that I love. I've read all his books and try to catch every time he does a public speaking event that I can see online. And like, he always talks about the Foley risk reward ratio, and like that's the thing you got to think in your head, because
Yeah,
like, first of all, just regular bumps in general, you have a bump card like that. Eventually, you're gonna have your last bump, and that one counts for like a whole punch card of of bump cards. So glad he's okay. I hope someone learned something from this as far as like how to handle that. But yeah, we definitely need to not give hate to some of the people there, because some of the people tried. And you could definitely see them trying, and they could have got themselves hurt in the process of trying, with only one or two of them being in the spot to help out. Um,
I also want to reiterate something AJ Francis said was he tried to catch him and he's catching heat.
yeah,
He made one bad dive. He's catching heat. Other people do it. Nobody says a thing.
yeah,
It absolutely is a double standard when it comes to somebody like him, whether it's size or whatever. It's absolutely a double standard.
yeah. And I don't get the hate on him. Like, I'll be honest, he's in the same grouping as Moose to me, which is I don't get the character, and so I'm not really behind the character. But everything I've seen of AJ in real life, and seeing him in, like, he did the Lost Treasure stuff on that show, and like everything I see, like, he's a great dude.
Yeah.
And so I don't know why fans just feel like they need to give him that much hate. Um, I think they need to give the guy a chance. I do want to, like, I want to piggyback off of your three though, because that's not the only spot in that match that people are curious about. The other
Okay.
spot is the fact that Moose actually won the match, um, because Slater has the title. He falls. And then Moose spears him and he takes the title. I think the spot was missed a little bit.
He was supposed to spear him in the air.
Yeah, I think he was probably supposed to spear him in the air, and so he lets go of the title before he falls.
Yeah, because if he's in the air when he lets go of the title, it's whoever picks it up because he hasn't landed with it.
But his feet...
If he landed with the title, spear or not, he should be the champ.
Yeah. And so then that's another thing that's kind of been going around Twitter of, we got some people saying that at that point you need to pivot and say, well, he won. Like, visibly, we saw him win. Or do you keep to the same script of Moose won and find a way to explain it? And I don't remember what the commentary said. Commentary did try to kind of explain it away. And I akin it a lot to like that Royal Rumble spot with Shawn, because the reason you have to have both feet hit the floor now is because we had a very close up of Shawn almost losing because one foot touched the floor. And so then it was like, oh, no, both feet have to touch the floor. That's how we explain that away. And so maybe this makes a new ruling, changes the way X Division works. I don't know. But that's a big thing in question right now should Moose actually be the champion? So we'll just see what they do with that, obviously, the next go round for TNA. But if you're not currently watching TNA, definitely, go in there and watch that. TNA to me is the best wrestling company that's not being watched. They have a great roster. They have good storytelling. To me, they have one of the best females in the business right now, and that's Rosemary with her character work. So hopefully, maybe they get a better deal now that they're working with WWE. Get a better TV deal so we can see them somewhere other than like 3 a.m. on the Ocho. All right, well, with that, we're going to go ahead and lead right into the news. While she walks away. That gets me in trouble. All right. So for the it was that was a split second thing. I mean, you hit it too late and you mess up the spot. So I don't know, that may have been a spot I would have rethought myself. Again, I'm not the one in the ring, so I'm not qualified to say that they should have or not, but I probably would have rethought that because the margin of error for that spot, it's so small. First thing in the news, WWE talent found out about next WrestleMania plans from Twitter, from the from the Netflix trailer, not from Twitter. Netflix documentary dropped a real drama. The Unreal docuseries trailer gave fans more than expected, a whiteboard of WrestleMania creative plans from earlier this year. We found out because of that trailer that some of the wrestlers were left in the dark. Several WWE superstars reportedly only learned they were once planned for WrestleMania by seeing their names in that trailer. So they didn't even know that they had plans for WrestleMania that got thrown out. Some told Fightful that they heard rumors of their involvement, but then it was never formally approached to them. So they never had any idea. Asuka's inclusion raised eyebrows because obviously we haven't seen her in the ring in forever. And honestly, I didn't even know she was anywhere near cleared. I thought she was still harboring that ankle injury. But they called it very ambitious due to her injury status at the time. This ignites the discussion of WWE's internal communication, though, of creative shifts and the emotional toll that it leaves talent with, especially with us being more transparent about what's going on in the business. It seems like every other week we've got some sort of docu-series happening for WWE that's showing us behind the scenes things. So is this something that could probably affect the morale backstage without them like giving them the heads up? Like, hey, like we're going to talk about this, and this. You didn't know about it, but we need to give you the heads up because this is something you're probably going to find out about. it's just crazy that we're in a world that, like, them as a company, they're telling outsiders uh, the internal business workings and didn't even tell the people that they were doing those internal workings for. That's weird. What do you think?
I didn't see the preview.
Mhm.
I heard about it. If I'm a wrestler and I was supposed to be on WrestleMania and then I find out I'm not, I'm gonna be pretty salty because that's a big ass paycheck.
Mhm. Yeah, I couldn't imagine, like, to me it'd be similar of, like, I find out at the end of the year that I was supposed to do a project to get a bonus because of the project, but then they canceled the project and didn't even, like, I knew nothing about it. Well, why didn't you at least tell me, like, there was a possibility for something? Maybe I could have greased the wheels, maybe I could have done something to make it more of a solid thought. Like, I couldn't imagine being in that position. Um, TNA in talks to retain Ace Austin amid the talent concerns that we have there. Um, I like that. Yeah, it's like the woman hater club up there. Got Triple H Alfalfa with a can talking to I forget who all the little rascals were. Foggy.
Dear Darla, I hate your stinking guts.
uh, good pull. Thank you. Um, Negotiations are underway to keep Ace Austin, despite already announcing a re-signing back in March 2024. So we're already talking about trying to keep him on even further. We do have a small update on Chris Bay. His status is still unclear, but Bay's original contract is reportedly up, and there's no word on whether it is going to be extended following his injury-related absence. Um, I would hope that they keep him on the payroll in some capacity. Like, obviously, like, he's not going to be wrestling anytime soon, if ever. But, like, he literally broke himself for you. Like, you can keep him
If
around for
they
something.
release him, honestly, if they release him, I think one of two things. I agree. The
Mm-hmm.
question is, will Ace Austin get over with the WWE audience? Because, excuse me, that's a fair concern for a lot of people.
Yeah. Or getting lost in the shuffle. Like, both WWE and AEW both have a very bloated roster. And so,
But they
like,
don't bench people, Michael. We talked about this.
uh,
I really tried to keep a
there's
straight face
more
as long as I could.
there's more benches there than a Baptist church. Um, what?
Damn.
um, Losing one or both of the ABC members could be a huge blow to the TNA's tag team division. And also, like, to get to Stampede's point there, Ace himself is a great talent. I remember when he first came over from New Japan, um, I wasn't too into the character. I think it was too pointed at the whole Ace thing. He walked around with an Ace card and he was wearing a black trench coat like he was part of the Matrix. Like, I couldn't get behind him. But he has now evolved that character where it's not Ace isn't a gimmick. Ace is who he is. And I like
Right.
that better of it's that's just who he is.
I
Um,
think the best thing he could do is if he decides to leave TNA,
mm-hmm.
is go hook up with Jay White. Jay
Yeah,
White, Juice Robinson.
yeah, be part of that crew.
If they have rights to use the Bullet Club name,
Mm-hmm.
I don't
That's
see
a
a downside.
that's a good point. Or take a trip back over to Japan. Come back there with
If
your newfound confidence in yourself.
it's if it is something that they let Chris Bay go, I understand it. From a business point, I do understand it. I think there's a lot of optics that are going to look really shitty if they do that.
Yeah.
Um,
The smart thing is to keep him on somehow. I mean, he's got a great mind for the business. The interview he did with Chris was really great. Showed how much knowledge he actually has, and how much forethought he has in ring psychology. So even just having him on as some sort of consultant with them to help be a road agent or what have you, I think would definitely be a better optic than letting him go in a time where he's rebuilding himself. And if you really want to look at it as a business decision, if he fights and fights and gets to a point where he can do a match again and he can be in the ring again, the story you can tell of him doing that fight while he's in your company is amazing for television. And I hate to break it down like that for just a situation of having a good number, but that's an amazing story.
Yeah.
Absolutely. There's more layers to the Ace character now. We talked about it last week. Brodie Lee Jr.'s first match happened. It was a wholesome story with a serious work ethic.
I was so excited about it.
GCW had a surprise moment where Brodie Lee Jr. came out, made his in-ring debut at GCW Clusterfuck in what began as a joke and then turned into an actual moment. UK talent Man Like Doris jokingly asked Brodie if he wanted to be in. Brodie got permission from his mom, Amanda, and then the rest was history. So it literally was just a joke. Like he just kind of, hey, you want to be in it? And then it just rolled on to, yeah, let's do this.
Here's the problem. The second that man said, hey, Brodie, you want to get in? Brodie went, fuck yeah, I do.
For sure.
You know he did.
Absolutely.
And Amanda went.
And the story from Fightful is that GCW's Joey Janela and Brett Lauderdale both immediately, when they found out he was going to be in, said, let him win. Like they were for it immediately of like, let him win this match.
Because it doesn't get more wholesome.
It doesn't. It's a great story.
He's a good kid. It's good for them.
Mm-hmm.
There's any of a number of reasons that doing this is not a bad thing.
No, not at all. The good news is he's back training. By midweek, the next week, he was already back into the dungeon.
Every Wednesday, Tuesday. I don't remember what Amanda said. We've talked about it on Heels.
Yeah.
He's there at least once a week, sometimes twice.
Yeah. But it's just showing like he's got the dedication to it, especially as young as he is, because he's not legally able to go in there and actually go at it yet. But him training that hard right now.
I kind of wondered how they got around that.
Well, he didn't take any bumps. Nobody hit the kid.
Oh, okay. I was pretty impressed with the clothesline, and Joey Janela sold the head out. As much as I've heard horrible things about Joey Janela, I was down for this.
Yeah,
it was great. It was fun. 100%.
Yep.
100%.
Yep. And here's the thing. So like you have a parallel here to kind of speak of it. The fact that Izzy is flirting with that WWE ID thought, like, that is the literal definition of a homegrown talent for you. This was a fan that you had part of storylines, and you bring her in and you build her up and you make her part of that, and you have that story forever of this true homegrown talent that you have documented proof of being part of your company. Brodie's the same way. We've got the videos and the pictures of him being -1 with the crew themselves. Like, it's perfect. It's a perfect thing. And if they, this is one of those, like, don't drop the ball on that. You need to focus on this kid getting his development so that when he's ready to be in the ring, you have him go in there. And it'll be like the Nick Wayne story, but bigger, because you have this lineage of things. And he has an immediate story walking in, because you have the Dark Order still there.
here's the thing. Boy still got 3 or 4 years before he can legally wrestle.
Yeah.
This is one of those things you have to be careful with, just because of what happened. But they made him the forever TNT champion.
Okay. I see where you're going.
He walks in the door, hey, I'm here, and I'm the real TNT champion.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And whoever the champ, especially if you do it right, you do it with the right person, story writes itself. Especially if it's somebody like Nick Wayne.
Yeah.
Because can you imagine how good Nick Wayne's going to be in 4 years?
Yeah.
4 years, 5 years, whatever the case may be.
Or the Protostar.
Kyle Fletcher?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have him be TBS champion at that time.
Or, you want to make it way more interesting? Have it be Preston Vance.
He is available now.
Well, do you remember that whole thing?
Oh, yeah. Him
when
turn
he took his mask off?
Yep. Turn on the Dark Order. The whole thing, yeah. That would be an interesting story as well.
Mask at -1's feet.
Yeah.
And to me, it's 100% Brodie for AEW needs to come out as -1.
I don't know. I think that first promo should be him dropping that name.
Hang on, I'll be right back.
Okay. Stampede, if you're still with us, do you have any thoughts on how he should debut? I mean, I know we're like 3 or 4 years away from that, but it'll be a good start for little Brodie.
Sorry, I thought Grace was talking to somebody.
That's valid. I like that. Have someone specifically like call him out and say, when you turn 18, I'm here waiting for you.
100%.
Everything okay? It looks a little concerned.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I thought that somebody was here to get the little dogs, and it was Grace and Chance.
Oh, okay.
So,
next bit of news: internal WWE reactions to Karrion Kross's unscripted promo. Unscripted. I want to go ahead and put quotes because it may or may not have been. We still don't know. But so Karrion Kross did a promo that blurred the lines a bit. Kross vented about his lack of WWE opportunities, blending storyline with real life frustration on a WrestleMania post show segment. So much so, and again, it's one of those like, are they that good at acting, or did he really kind of decide just to go off? Scarlett's next to him and kind of giving him a look of like, what the fuck you saying? Like,
she's giving him a look of, God damn it, we're gonna get fired.
I like my pretty house. What are you doing? But despite whether it was scripted or not, his promo is said to be approved and has turned heads internally. So hopefully we'll see more of a push for him and more opportunity for him. I think he's proven himself, and to me, like we got into a conversation while I was in the chat for Chair Shot's Raw review about who we thought was going to join the Seth Riders. And he had recommended Austin Theory. Jess was not very thrilled about that as one of the options. And I posted something in chat, and I think this kind of very, very much still the same, but it's almost a flip side of it. And that's, I agree with you. I think it had to be through somebody, even if you just kind of pop by Michael Hayes or something of like, hey, I'm gonna say some shit when I get out there. because they could cut a mic pretty easily. But to me, like Austin Theory, I don't think has gotten a lot of headway because he's got the Vince stink on him. Vince wanted him so bad to be a main eventer, and he kept pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing. And now people are just like, I don't want him there because Vince wanted him there so bad. It's back to the stories of like CM Punk with Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman pushed so hard for CM Punk that it soured him for everybody else backstage because
Yeah.
all you had was Paul Heyman constantly throwing his name
We
up.
should move this guy. We should move this guy. We should
Yeah.
do this.
To me, I think Karrion Kross has a stink on him, but I think that's because of what happened in his call up. Because you call him up and you give him this like Farouk-esque,
It was so
like,
bad.
Titan armor stuff, and you know, like he already shaved his head, and that's fine, but like you took away the mystique, you took away the entrance, you took away Scarlet, like you took away everything that made him the character he was just a few weeks before when he was terrorizing NXT. And you tried to run with that for a while, and it just failed miserably.
It was so bad.
And then you give him this group, and you kind of have a thing going, but then he would disappear from out of nowhere. We would start a thing where like he threw the clock in there for the bloodline. We're like, oh, we're gonna get AOP. I forget what they were called, but it was his group
Final
of AOP
Testament.
and all them. What's that? Final Testament. You were gonna get Final Testament in the bloodline, and then that just kind of went away. And then he started this thing with the New Day, and then it just kind of went away. And like we're just now starting to tie some of that stuff together. It'd be interesting to see them actually push him and give him an opportunity to get that stink off of there. And if he fails, he fails. Like that's the thing. Give him the opportunity and let him do his thing. And if he fails, he fails. I don't disagree. I think that for him and a few other people, I think that about Grayson, because Grayson's a talented kid, but like we haven't done jack with him. We gave him a talk show that we took away like a week later, and then stuck him with Theory, and we've teased this breakup. We had the joke between Stampede and I both of like how long this has been going on. I was like, this breakup has more seasons than The Simpsons. Like it just keeps going. It's horrible. So if we're not going to do something,
how many times have we talked about Austin and Waller though? Like, there's a certain level of I'm sure you could do something great with him. At this point, why? And is anyone going to care? I think that's my biggest point of contention with Waller and Theory. Is anyone going to care?
Yeah. What? Yeah. If you've, it's the boy cried wolf. It's after so many times of us teasing this, is it really going to be something we care about at the end of the day? I think that's kind of why we stopped with the Fraxium thing. Because the Fraxium,
they got called up Friday.
Yeah, but like them breaking up kept getting pushed off and pushed off and pushed off, and then finally it was just like, all right, well, we're not doing that. They're just a team still.
I still think that's going to happen, sadly.
Yeah. With our luck, it'll happen like the first official, like, pay-per-view match here, the main card or something. Liv Morgan stated on Raw that she had a big Hollywood role that she needed some time off for. Some new news came through today. One of the first rumors that popped off because of her wanting to leave, and we've heard that a certain Marvel movie was going to start production here in the next few months, that it was going to be a Marvel movie. Some new news came out today that they're saying it's not a Marvel movie. Doesn't mean it's not, because we know how that goes, but that it's a major dramatic project. Possibly by the same group that did Rock's new movie that we just dropped a trailer about today, A24. So it may be something to do in that realm.
Don't get me excited about Liv showing up in the MCU like that.
I mean, first of all, I wouldn't mind seeing her as Gwen Stacy. I'm just going to throw that right out there. I think she'd make a pretty damn good little Gwen Stacy. But
I was thinking she'd make a pretty solid Dazzler.
yeah, I could see that.
If you colored her hair, she'd be a great Jubilee.
I think if you do that though, then you're gonna have the. Uh, I'm part of the crowd, so I can say this: the woke crowd, uh, saying about like, because I think she's Polynesian in the comics or
Is
some sort
she?
of Asian. She's got some sort of heritage. I think if you just put like a blonde white chick in there, some people might have a problem with it. Um, I could be wrong though. I thought I remembered her being some sort of ethnicity though. Um, but apparently it's a prestige role. Sources compare the film to Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. So that type of level of a movie, which I don't know if you've seen that. If you haven't, I have that movie. You should see that movie. It's a very fun movie. Um, there's a lot of silly parts in it, but it's also some stuff
What
that'll
movie?
everything everything everywhere all at once.
She is American and Krakoan. Is that even really a thing?
Going okay. I don't know what that is. Please educate me.
I think it's a Marvel thing.
Okay. Um, the hope, obviously, from her is that right now Morgan is kind of the it girl in WWE, and so hoping that this will be something that'll help be a breakout moment for her in the Hollywood space as well. Um, that's I don't know if you're being funny about that, but that's not a bad pick
No,
either.
that actually has been the rumor. Is that she's gonna play Britney?
That could be cool if we're doing like a Britney biopic,
There's rumors of
and
it.
A24 wouldn't be above that, I don't think.
Yeah.
Um,
Go to the bathroom. Keep going.
okay.
I
Um,
know. I'm jumping up like crazy tonight.
but apparently this is also it's a very close conversation between Paradigm Talent Agency and WWE and the producers of the movie. They're all working really close together to make sure that this ends up being a good opportunity for her. So what does Liv's Hollywood moment mean for WWE? Like, what about that like crossover appeal that we're gonna see from that? Like, we've got that with Cena and Rock, and we've had it for Batista in the background. This will be really the first time that I can think of where we've had a WWE female talent. If it ends up being that type of Oscar worthy or that type of blockbuster hit, that we've had a female wrestler kind of make that move over. I mean, you can kind of count Ronda Rousey. She was in the Fast and Furious stuff, but most people don't even count her as a WWE talent anymore, let alone whether or not she was good in the movies. So it is interesting though that she's getting that opportunity. It'll be nice to see her in another medium. I think all of us here, at least the two in the chat and the two here on screen, I know we're all fans of Liv, so um, I am curious to kind of see where she goes from there. And thank you for pointing that out that you're serious about that because I was one of
No,
those that was it was
I
hard to
think
read
Dean
that one.
Patton would have pointed it out if he hadn't. But yeah, somebody said that I was like, I can kind of see that because she could easily pull off when Brittany went crazy.
Yeah.
And I air quote that because she didn't go crazy. She was pushed that way, and it wasn't her fault.
No. I was actually surprised. Like I saw a thing. Apparently, she was on um, like Clarkson's. No, 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 not her. She was on a talk show here in the last couple of days, and Toni Storm did. Yes. I consider her more on the AEW side. I was speaking specifically for the WWF or WWE. Excuse me. I need those lawyers or those pandas coming after me. Um, but yeah, she did that major movie. I still need to see that.
Queen of the Ring?
Yeah, I still need
Yeah.
to get a chance to see that because it looks like it's going to be an amazing movie, and Felicity's in it. I love her, so that's awesome.
She's the main character, which is crazy to me.
Yeah.
Ma'am, you're Felicity Smoke. Stop it.
But it'll be fun to see. I can't wait to see more about it. Speaking of movies that came out, trailer dropped for a new biopic that Karrion Kross is also in, or
Oh, Cross is in that?
docu-series, sorry, that
Oh,
he's in. And so that's something to look forward to. I think that's the second trailer he's dropped in the last few weeks. He's got
uh-huh.
also like a thriller that he's in. That'll be coming up soon too. So good to see him doing something with his time, since WWE wasn't doing a lot with him. Hopefully he gets to keep doing some of that stuff. Um, I do think I don't understand, like, they've got some stuff that are just right there in their lap, um, when it comes to some of the people they have. And since you've got this deal with Netflix, have Netflix do like a Ghost Hunter series with Scarlet and Shotzi, and
Gotcha.
there was a third, I think, that was doing that with them for a little while, but I don't remember who the third was. Um, have the third be like a rotating wrestler, and have it be people that are skeptical or easily scared. That'd be a lot of fun.
Oliver Queen, hands down. Hands down, Oliver Queen. And I say that for one reason. Because when necessary, he'll do what's needed to win, and Felicity wouldn't.
Yep. Um,
Oliver Queen, as much as they didn't have Batman in the DC series,
that they
was
had,
Batman.
yeah,
He had a way to beat everybody.
he was Batman. He was Batman because they couldn't do Batman. Um, Definitely changed the role of the Green Arrow of what it initially was. But speaking of Oliver Queen, also speaking in the TV world, the Netflix world, CM Punk is,
Wants another season of Heels.
pushing for another season of Heels, which absolutely love that show.
I've never watched it.
Oh my God, you need to. It is so good. Um, there you go. Move the entire YouTube over there, or keep it on YouTube and just promote it. Push people over there. Um, but absolutely, I'd love a new season of Heels. I know it was something that was already still in talks for and hasn't officially died yet. Um, but if CM Punk could put some of his mojo behind that and try to get that pushed, especially with their deal with Netflix, I'd love to see a new season of that to come out. Um, it's great for exposure for the business. It's also just a great
Yeah.
story, outside of itself. So it'd be fun to see all that. Um, all right. Well, anything else wrestling that you can think of that you want to talk about? Anything in chat that we haven't talked about that you guys want to bring up as a topic before we head off for the day? That could be fun. That could be a lot of fun, Stampede. It is. I've caught a couple of the ghost hunting things. When I saw Shotzi was part of it, and I'm a big Shotzi fan. Like, just her outside of the company, her, like, she's just a dork, and I love watching just her. Um, I watched a couple of those. What's up?
I was going to make a comment about why you're a Shotzi fan, but I'm
Oh,
trying to, you know. Um, we talked about a little bit off the air. They broke up Metaphor tonight. I'm interested to see where this goes. They broke up the Metaphor tag team, the women too. And I don't understand that when your women's tag team division is such ass.
so with that, I will agree with you. I will say I do think, nothing against Miss Jackson. I can say Miss Jackson because I'm nasty. Um, Miss Jackson's the Marty. I love her, but she's Marty
So far,
so far.
I agree. Flash has a very outgoing personality.
Yeah, with them
Um,
calling up Stephanie, seemingly like she's still the NXT Women's Champion, but they've had her on Raw 2 weeks in a row now. Bringing up Julia, bringing up Roxy. They're going to need to fill some holes, and Lash could fill one of those very easily. She could step right into one of those main roles. So I saw that Cross was on some of them sometimes. I didn't know Shotzi's husband was on 'em.
yeah. I don't know who Shotzi's husband is, so.
A lucky bastard. That's who it is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly, I don't like it just because, yes, I agree with you to an extent. Chikara she is in a Marty situation right now. You really don't have any tag teams. Oh, okay. I just don't understand it from the stance of why not?
Yeah.
Like why split them up? Why not? First of all, they should have won those titles.
So to that point, especially with what's going on right now, because if you think about it this way, if Liv's going to be out for a while because of this movie, why do we still have them have the tag belts? Why don't we get those off of them? Like I get we got the turn, but the turn could have happened at Mania and they kept the titles. And then Liv and Raquel turn around and have to face the Meta Girls and then lose the titles. And then Liv's pissed off. And so she's going to run off to Hollywood because she's mad at not getting a rematch or whatever. Like she essentially walks out for a little bit.
Yeah.
Like that story could have happened. So it's really strange. And especially because, like you said, like the tag team division in general is a hot mess. You've got a bunch of just random people kind of thrown together and not an actual tag team. So much so that we had what was supposed to be Bayley and Lyra, but ended up being Becky and Lyra at WrestleMania being the tag team, going for the tag team titles instead of a legit tag team. It's a weird choice. So the Twitter topic of the week. Let's see if this graphic works. It works. Yay. John on Twitter, Roman Era 0, posted, "What if? What is your biggest what if in wrestling?" So what is something that you think could have been more interesting or more fun or more profitable if we changed it from reality?
Honestly, I'm going to say that's fair. Just because we were talking about it.
Fair enough.
What if the Meta Girls had won the tag titles? I'm just using that as a recent one. I'm sure if I sat here and thought about all the years of what we could change.
Mm-hmm.
But what if they had put the titles on them? Shit.
Goodness. That's so loud.
Did
I heard
you hear
it.
that?
Yeah, I heard it.
Oh, wow. Okay,
That's thunder, y'all.
Let's take a look at the radar here.
Thunder rolls.
Right.
And the lightning strikes.
Apparently close by here.
Yes. I probably headed that way. Passed by
heavier rain expected in 3 minutes. What the fuck was that?
Oh, that was just thunder. Some of the ones I've seen, just kind of going through the thread here,
Okay.
like what if Stone Cold never sustained a neck injury? So, Owen made the bad decision of sitting down instead of going on his knees for that tombstone without it being braced properly.
Steve was in a terrible position for that, too.
Yeah. So what if either Steve would have been in a better position so he could brace himself, or what if he would have with tombstone instead of the sit down and Stone Cold didn't have that neck injury? How would that have changed that couple of years of us having to, there's the famous word again, pivot, because the biggest person in your company didn't have to go away. That's a big one too. Absolutely. Magnum TA, like he was supposed to be the man. And if I remember right from some of the documentaries I've seen, like he was even being looked at when Vince started taking over places, of like they were going to bring him in. So if we bring him in as your top dog, what does that mean for Hogan? Because then you're not looking for that top dog anymore. What does that do for his trajectory? what does that do for his rivalry with the Four Horsemen? That was constant. So if he went with Vince, would that have maybe intrigued the Horsemen to go to Vince? And so then they don't stay in NWA at the time. That would have been a lot of fun. That one hurts a lot of us, Mike. That what if Punk never left? Here's the thing. I do think if Punk never left, though, I don't think we would be as in a good position as we are. Because I think him leaving did a lot.
Him leaving forced people to step up.
Yeah. Well, not only that, but it also it shone a light on what was going backstage. Him turning around, and of course their friendship got tumultuous there too. But him being on Colt Cabana's podcast and airing all those grievances and talking about him having the staph infection, him getting his termination papers on his wedding day, like all those things, shone a big light on like, oh, backstage isn't all, fucking flowers and stuff. It's
rainbows and puppies.
Yeah, there's shit going on back there. We'd be in a better timeline. No, I do think Stardust is a pivotal thing of, I think that's what broke Cody. And it so is. If we didn't have Stardust, I don't
changed.
Go
ahead. That was one of those things that he said. They showed me I was never getting away from that character, and that's when I said, I have to leave.
Yeah.
Had there not been a Stardust, we wouldn't have Cody the way we have him now.
Could be a very good point.
He'd have stayed and been the Miz.
There's a fun one. It's not even a phrase or what could have changed. It's just a picture of Mr. Kennedy.
What if he hadn't fucked that up?
What if that whole thing did not get messed up? Because he had a trajectory, as stupid as it was. He was supposed to be the illegitimate child of Vince. And so what story would that have put him in going forward? And what light would that have shown on him if we didn't have that moment in that weird, it was Super Bowl Rumble or whatever it was called, where he kind of messed up and messed up Randy's shoulder.
I started to say it was Randy's neck.
Was it his neck? I thought it was his shoulder.
No, it was his neck.
Oh, shit.
But here's the question. And this, you also have to think about what if with these things, like that one. Well, then he wouldn't have gone to TNA.
Mm-hmm.
So he wouldn't have been part of Aces and Eights, which was really good for him. Like, there's a number of things. If you change that one thing, Cody wouldn't have been Bullet Club.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have Stephen Amell in the ring. We wouldn't have AEW.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's one of those things that some of these people, there's enough of a residual from everything they've done that if you take away that one thing, the ripple effect is, like we've talked about, elimination changes.
Yeah.
Think about this.
For those uninitiated, one of the TikTok games that we used to play was elimination changes, and I would give Tori 3 things. She'd have to pick which one of those we were going to throw out of existence and deal with whatever ripples happen after it. And so we would talk about which one she would let go and talk about what would that affect on the aftermath. Yeah, him not getting that Stardust character could have changed a lot as far as where we are in wrestling today. Does that give him the push to change him? Does that give him the push to be the main eventer and come back and be the world heavyweight champion? And so then we don't get him against The Rock for, the 2 years and finish the story and all that. It's an interesting thought. I have a quick fun one just because I was majorly behind it. What if Finn didn't get hurt?
Universal title.
Yeah. He was the first Universal title. He won it his first night on the main roster. They obviously had major plans for him and he has been stutter started so many times after that. And I think, again, it's like we talked earlier about having the stink on you. I think that could be why, is because there's that stink of like, well, we put the title on him, and he immediately dropped it. So, you good?
Yeah, I was yelling at the child.
Okay. The actual child?
Mary just messaged me that her mom's on the way, so.
Okay. Well, that's all right. We're going to go ahead and wrap up. That's perfectly fine. Just real quick, though, before you let go, Sean and Gus find themselves in the middle of a Civil War reenactment where a staged death turns dangerously real. Can the dynamic duos separate fact from fiction before the next casualty? Don't miss the laughter, the mystery, and, of course, the pineapples on the next episode of Psych. There's only a little giggle on that one. Is it time to change shows now?
You might need to.
I do know Big Mike is going through Psych again, so.
I am actually on season 9 of The Flash.
It's amazing. I'm going back through Grimm. That's my current sit down and binge. Grimm.
Never watched it.
It was a telling basically of there's this cop, and you find out that he's a Grimm, and what a Grimm is someone who can see.
Grimm storyteller. Yeah.
Yeah.
But my brother's Grimm stories.
He can see what we know as Grimm stories, and they're actual actual werewolves and actual whole thing, and he gets in the middle of this whole organizational thing that has to do with the police department he's in. It's real fun. A lot of fun. It kind of ended with a fart, but most shows do because they don't give them the opportunity to finish them out like they should.
Something we didn't talk about. Miko Satomura retired.
Yep.
And the number of people that commented on that, was amazing to see.
Yeah.
Like how much she touched women's wrestling. It's a great show.
Does that include like the 3 movies or just the show?
Those were not all great. Sebastian Stan shaved his head.
Yeah, for a role. He had a role immediately after
Thunderbolts?
After Thunderbolts, yeah.
No. No, sir. You have an odd no. You should have been the leader. No.
What if NXT Black and Gold had kept going?
Again.
I think that one's hard to tell, though. Just because Vince wouldn't have let that happen.
Big Mike, I don't know enough about her to have an opinion on that. After how they're handling Zarya, I don't see her going there. Because let's be honest, they have kind of crappily booked Zarya.
Well, Zarya has gotten, and it goes very interesting because of the interview. Did you end up seeing the Bayley interview?
No, I haven't watched it.
Okay. To me, I think Zarya's kind of gotten the Bayley treatment. You've got these 3 badass women that joined at the same time. They put all of their dedication behind Julia and behind Stephanie, and Zarya was just kind of left out. And she definitely should have been part of that conversation for like the women's title, for the North American title, something. She should have been somewhere in that conversation, and we just kind of shoved her with Soul. And now we're in a weird situation where Soul has 2 championships in a tag team with Zarya, a badass, with nothing. It's strange to me. I do agree. I think she would suit AEW better. She's kind of more of that less frills, more substance. Nothing against the people in WWE, but just they're more about the character and the story. I do think she'd be better off in AEW. But then again, bloated roster, so stick her over there, and then she gets lost in the shuffle. Possibly.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Tori's got a visitor that's going to be coming here soon, so we'll go ahead and close this out. That's it for tonight. Just remember, wrestling today is like the biggest buffet you've ever seen. You don't have to love everything on the table, but enjoy what's on your plate and load up on what hits for you. Catch us on TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, Blue Sky. Hit us up on the Discord right above me. I finally fixed the link. It's right there. You can either go to the link or you can do the QR code there if you're fancy. Drop your thoughts, share your faves, and keep this conversation going. And in fact, actually, if you watch this on Twitter or if you watched it on YouTube, go ahead and drop down below with your what ifs. I think that was a fun little conversation to have of like what ifs, and maybe we'll just do a fun little what if mini-sode on Thursday or something to see what kind of conversations we can bring out of that. In the meantime and in between time, I am Michael. This is Tori, and we will catch you on the next one.
Here's the cover. Can he do it? Kick out at 2.